New to Los Angeles and a week from their wedding, Darrell and his fiancée are at home with his children when his ex shows up, unannounced and not alone.
My kid's mother showed up, what I believe to be one other guy. When a third person pops out of nowhere, like just appears, I look up and my kid's mother is hitting my 70-year-old mother to the ground. At that time, the two gentlemen jumped on me. Once she saw me fighting the two guys, my mother on the ground, her initial reaction is, okay, I need to get a firearm and make sure we can get this stopped.
I had to protect the kids in my home. How could a mother bring danger to where her children are staying? They asked me for my hands up and just like, what is going on? Why are we having guns pointed at us?
Once law enforcement really picks a side, they stick to that.
Universally, it doesn't matter if you're acting in self-defense, doesn't matter if you're in the right, because you use a firearm, you're gonna get arrested. Everybody's gonna be looking at you like the bad person.
The moment we walk into the station, we're locking you guys up for a firearm.
You only sometimes can't believe it till you see it. You sometimes can't believe it till you go through that experience.
I just want to jump right into this. 3 people showed up at your house and attacked you, and you ended up charged with a crime. Tell us about that incident. What happened at the house?
Sure. So my kid's mother showed up, what I believe to be one other guy, her boyfriend or whatever, went outside to kind of like, hey, what's going on? And as I'm speaking to them, I hear a voice from behind me. It says like, you don't know me, you don't know where I do, you don't know my cousin, like really beefing up, right? And I'm like, well, you're absolutely right. I don't know you. I don't know what you're capable of. So I go inside to retrieve a firearm. At that point, tell these guys, hey, you can't be here, you need to go.
What made you think you needed to put a gun in your hand?
Well, because initially, when it's just the two people I see, right? I'm talking to you and we're gonna figure it out. When a third person pops out of nowhere, like just appears, that was a little off-putting. And then the words, like we were saying before, the words you're using, you don't know me, you don't know what I got, you don't know what I do. Well, wait a minute now, right? Let me be prepared for, and again, not the aggressor, I'd rather be prepared than right? So that was the point where I said, you know what, let me get my firearm in case this guy does have something, or they put something in the bushes for me, or whatever the case may be. From that moment, things actually got a little chill for a moment, right? The gentleman that was with my kid's mother said, hey, can we talk man to man? I said, you know what? Yes, we can. I put the firearm away in the safe, took the gentleman off to the side. We had a conversation. Not even 3 seconds of us speaking. I look up and my kid's mother is hitting my 70-year-old mother to the ground. At that point, of course, all hell breaks loose. And I go to engage to try to help my mother up off the ground. At that time, the two gentlemen jumped on me. So Doncel sees that there are actually 2 gentlemen outside. She didn't know that it was that many people outside. So once she saw me fighting the 2 guys, my mother on the ground, her initial reaction is, okay, I need to get a firearm and make sure we can get this stopped.
Doncel, what were you thinking during this moment?
That there were 2 elderly people in my home, that I had to protect the kids in my home, that how could a mother bring danger to where her children are staying, causing this much trauma for them, scaring them. I was just worried, like I didn't know what to do. And by being on the phone with the police at the same time, I thought she would give me some type of guidance on how to handle it or what to do so that, we could remain safe.
So you had already called 911.
I was on the phone with 911 when she showed up.
And you're holding the gun.
And I'm holding the gun as I'm telling them what I'm doing.
And then what happened? How long did it take for the cops to get there?
At least 25.
It took at least 25, 30 minutes. She had called as well.
So my kid's mother's on the phone with the police and Doncel's on the phone with the police.
So I was on the phone with the police the whole incident. Mm-hmm. She called and yelled into the phone to tell them that we were kidnapping the kids, that she dropped off from Philadelphia. which was arranged. But she yelled on the phone that we were kidnapping the kids, and that's what kind of made them show up. And she basically were like, we were holding them hostage when we had guns.
So based on your kid's mother's phone call, the police arrived there thinking already that you had done something wrong, that you were kidnapping the kids, or there was a custody dispute, that you were in the wrong.
Correct.
Yeah.
And based on what you're saying to me, this was already prearranged. Everything was in the right. You
Well, again, this
you had
happened
permission
the
to
week-
do what you were doing.
This happened the week of our wedding. So the kids were there for our
The
wedding.
wedding.
So yeah, everything was arranged. This was the agreement. She brought them here. I paid for the tickets for everyone.
What went on during the 25 minutes while you're waiting for the cops?
I was inside the house. His children were very hysterical. They were like crying really bad. I was trying to like calm them down while keeping myself calm, just trying to make sure they're okay. They're asking me, why is she doing this? Why would she do this? Why is she here? We don't want to leave. We don't want to go with her right now. And as far as what I do every day in life, you know, I'm trying to make sure they understand. I'm trying to calm them down. I'm trying to keep them out of harm's way, because now, at that time, I still didn't even know there was two guys. So in this moment, I'm just trying to keep them out of the adult situation.
It was mind blowing, right? Like, again, you're gonna have disagreements, you know, with spouses or ex-spouses or anything like that. The thing that really threw me off was the amount of aggression that came with this, right?
And at what point did you realize cops were looking at you?
The moment they got there. So
Instantly, they made
the
it clear
moment-
that you're the guy they wanted.
The moment they got there, they requested all of us go to our patio, which was the most exterior part where they can see us, and had us hands up on the patio for maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Where was your gun at the time?
Everything was
safe.
already in the safe.
Okay.
Everything.
So it was back in the safe, because that's the only instruction the police officer on the phone told me, was that my unit is on the way. They should be pulling up now. Put your firearms back in the safe, lock them back up.
But as soon as we got out there, we immediately were in cuffs. We're the only two in handcuffs.
Not the people who came to your house aggressively. Those people didn't get
No.
detained, certainly not arrested.
They didn't even get questioned.
They didn't even get
The
questioned.
only additional person that had handcuffs
Yeah.
on was my oldest son, who was
Yes.
17 at the time. You know, we're crying like that is a child, and I made it very explicit. There is a 17-year-old in here. He is not a part of this. He's not an adult. He's a child. Now, his mother is sitting there cool as a cucumber. I am breaking down. My son shouldn't be in handcuffs.
Once law enforcement really picks a side, they stick to that, and that's just the way they go.
And when you say they pick a side, they pick they're going to go after the guy who pulled out the gun. Well,
And then law enforcement then prepares their report based off of what information they have at that time, and then they make their recommendations to the prosecuting agency, whether to file charges against the good guy.
I mean, I think that 100% they're going to get arrested. I mean, that happens universally. It doesn't matter if you're acting in self-defense, doesn't matter if you're in the right. Because you use a firearm, you're going to get arrested. And then everybody's going to be looking at you like the bad person, and you're going to have to defend yourself. And it's just the way it is. Because even though we have a Second Amendment, the law just looks, when you use a firearm, and look at you like you're the bad person. And a lot of the victims, quote unquote, in these cases don't get charged, even though they're actually the aggressor, which is, I mean, just kind of the way these things work. So it's really important that if you're in a self-defense situation, you have to understand you're going to get arrested, and you need to understand what to do when you use a firearm.
do you think Darrell and Doncel did the right things? Did they handle this probably the best way that they could?
I mean, they called us, and from there we kind of just quarterbacked the whole thing, kind of let them know what to expect, what to do, what to, not to say anything to anybody, and they followed our guidance, our advice, and they did well.
Did you go to jail that day?
Yes.
So initially, the officers told us, we're going to take everyone down to the station. We're going to talk to the detectives and try to figure out what's going on or what we need to do. Of course, we're okay with that, right? We again, we don't feel like we did anything wrong. We didn't harm anyone. We don't want any trouble, right? The moment we walk into the station, they say, "Do you guys know why you're here?" We said, "Yeah, to talk." He said, "No. If my supervisor asks, we're locking you guys up for a firearm." That's not what was told to us.
That's first you heard about it.
As soon as we walked into the building.
And it sounded to me like you've been cooperative the whole time. You're talking with them, giving them what they need. And at what point did you realize that this was probably going to be pretty serious?
The moment we walked in,
Then
because they Mirandized us.
Once we got into the holding cells, we're in there for a little bit because they said they had to go talk. So we're still at that moment thinking that the other party is here, like everybody's here. And the moment they walked in, they started Mirandizing, and I was like, "Wait, what? What?"
As a result of 3 people showing up in their yard, making threats, Darrell and Doncel stopped them. What did they get charged with? What were they facing?
So they were facing assault with a deadly weapon charges. So in California, anytime you brandish a firearm and you point it at someone, that's usually going to result in assault with a deadly weapon charge. Assault with a deadly weapon is a serious charge, and there's multiple charges for each victim, quote unquote. So if you have multiple aggressors, you're going to have multiple charges of assault with a deadly weapon.
In Pennsylvania, this is called brandishing a firearm. In Los Angeles, this is felony assault with a deadly weapon.
Much more serious.
We learned.
Yeah.
We learned. And we even learned, had it been a bat or a butter knife, it would have been the same offense.
You got in touch with folks at USCCA.
Correct.
They told you, "Don't worry, we're going to handle it." What was your bail? What did you have to pay to get out of jail?
Our bail was $75 a piece.
Okay.
So we had to pay at least 10% a piece. So it's about 15,
75.
about
It was
15,000
together.
Wow. And how quickly did USCCA help you out getting that back going?
So yeah, so like she said, we didn't actually get in contact until we were released, because that's when we got the information. We went through the attorney network. They gave us a ton of lists through the attorney network, right? The crisis response team was amazing for us. And we went through, we found our attorneys, and maybe I would say less than 5 days, we had a check on our door for each of us for our bail when we got home from work that day.
So now you're dealing with, was it the city attorney at this time or district attorney? Or
City attorney.
City attorney. You're dealing with that, and court dates are bouncing around and all sorts of things. How did you get to the point where you're sitting here talking with me now that were charges dropped? Did you go to trial? What happened?
So we went through a series of phone interviews that they wanted to do, right? What they agreed on was if we took some self-defense instruction classes type things, that it would be fine. Immediately, we had
already took the class.
We take classes literally monthly to just keep up with safety or whatever we need to do. So we literally went over to our firearm dealer. He printed out our most recent one. We sent it over that same day. Mm-hmm. Charges were dropped.
From the firearms charges that resulting from the self-defense incident, mm-hmm. that was all taken care of?
Absolutely. Yes. Everything on the side of self-defense, everything that Delta Defense USCCA said they were going to do, they did, plus some, for sure.
What made you decide to join the USCCA?
So...
And I assume you're both members.
Yes.
Correct. We got that good old family spouse deal, so we get a little bit of a discount.
Yeah. So we were in the CCW training class, and a rep came in and was telling us about it, and I was like, "Yeah, we don't need this. We're not gonna be in anything like what? Like I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been in arguments, things like that, but nothing that's escalated to where I feel like I would have to use my firearm or even defend myself using anything to be okay." And he's like, "No, I think we should get it." And I'm like, "Why?" And he's like, "We're in a new state. We're in a new city. We don't know really anyone here. We don't really know the legality of everything here. So we might just want to be protected. And once it happened literally 2-3 months later, and I was like, okay. And as the process started and how everyone was just automatically like trying to help and help and help. And I'm like, okay, like you're going to give us the money back for the bill? You're going to pay the lawyer? Okay, sure. Like those are things that you only sometimes can't believe it till you see it. You sometimes can't believe it till you go through that experience. So technically, honestly, that's why we became, because we realized we need some type of protection, even if it was something small.
What was the best part of this entire thing for you? What made you feel best as this was all unfolding?
That there is something out there that could help us through this, by having this membership, by having a team. When you are people who are considered the strong people, considered the independent people, considered the people that take care of everything on your own, that always figures it out, to have people that was willing to, in layman's terms, have our back, make sure that we were okay, make sure that this didn't turn out to be worse than what we probably thought it would be without the membership, what we know it would have been. I think that just having it was pretty much the best thing. Like he said yesterday, it was like the best purchase we probably made since we moved to Los Angeles.
Darrell and Doncell found themselves in a situation no couple wants to be in. Just 1 week before their wedding, they were in handcuffs, watching the police put Darrell's children into the custody of their attackers. They were charged with assault with a deadly weapon, despite never discharging their firearm or hurting anyone. They both received a $75,000 bail and were facing years in prison. That's when they called the 24/7 critical response team. What they experienced next was peace, relief, and something called hope. And with the help of their attorneys, all the charges were quickly dropped. So I want you to imagine this. What if you find yourself facing a $75,000 bail and assault with a deadly weapon charges just for defending yourself? Sure, the details might look a little bit different, but what if you were actually forced to defend yourself or your loved ones? What if you say something to the police that you shouldn't? What if you don't have the resources to fight for your innocence? When it seemed like the whole world was against them, Darrell and Doncell had help because of their USCCA membership. And just 3 months after purchasing their membership, they needed to use it. Will you have help when that moment comes, or will you be on your own? A membership with the U.S. Concealed Carry Association gives you access to over $3,600 worth of self-defense, education, and training materials, depending on which level you choose. And every membership comes with access to self-defense liability insurance in case you ever need monetary resources to defend yourself in court. That means you are mentally, physically, and legally prepared for any threat you might face. And the best part, your self-defense liability insurance benefit begins the moment you join, and you'll have instant access to the education and training resources to improve your self-defense skills. Then you get something no one can put a price on. You get peace of mind, knowing you're completely prepared to protect yourself and the people you love. To learn more about the USCCA and to activate your membership today, click the link below this video. You'll even find an exclusive bonus package just for people who join today. But please hurry, this bonus package won't last forever.
Insurance has been purchased by the USCCA and is one of the benefits of membership in the USCCA. Coverage and benefits are subject to the terms, conditions, and exclusions of the insurance policy issued to the USCCA. Every USCCA member is an additional insured on that policy. Information provided herein is for informational purposes and is not intended to be a representation of coverage that may exist in any particular situation. USCCA membership is not available to residents of New Jersey, New York, or Washington State. Contact Delta Defense's customer engagement team at 1-800-674-9779 with any questions. Delta Defense LLC provides sales, marketing, operations, and administrative support services to the USCCA and is a licensed insurance agency in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, with its principal office in West Bend, Wisconsin. Delta Defense LLC does business as Delta Defense Insurance Services in California. California license number 0M34093.